What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Everyone Loves Wrestling, brought to you by the Spandex StandUps podcast. We have an exciting guest for you today, one of our good buddies, fellow comedian, the very funny Eddie Sisneros is in the house today, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Big wrestling fan, always talking wrestling, always watching wrestling, always playing video games with Eddie Sisneros. So we thought, let's get him over here. Let's talk about wrestling. And I've never really dove in to where the love of wrestling began, where it started. We like to talk about our first matches and what we saw. I think the first thing I ever saw was a Velocity one night. It was a Saturday night. My buddies were all hanging out. I wasn't invited, so I'm home watching TV. I get to pick what's on, and there's just Velocity.
That's awesome.
And then they're like, promote what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw, and I'm like, boom, I'm watching Raw. Next thing you know, I'm watching the Rumble. I'm watching WrestleMania 20.
It gets you fast, right?
So, yeah. Where did it begin for you?
Well, I'll say this because you reminded me that my reinvigoration, because I took a break for a while, was
as we do
because of Evan. You're like, hey, you want to go to SummerSlam this year? I'm like, I haven't watched it in forever, but sure, you got to go to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I started watching all the history, catching up on storylines. Since then, it's been
boom,
3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Of like nonstop. But where it began. It's hard to pinpoint. I was mentioning this earlier. My first memory, my family used to go to, I don't know what the affiliation was or whatever, but it was in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, yeah. See, you got in the heart of it, man. I love it.
So my uncles were like hardcore wrestling fans. They used to go in Odessa. They used to go, my uncle used to go every single week. I think he took me one time, or I dreamed it because they told me.
Yeah. Either way, you were there in spirit, if not in person.
Right. Yeah. So my first official memory is a pretty cool moment. So I think it was on Saturdays or Sundays. They had like recaps of what happened, and so it was whenever Shawn Michaels did the kick on, what was his partner name?
Diesel or Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty. Yeah, it was that big breakup when he became the Heartbreak Kid. That was my first time watching
that's a good one.
Anything. So that's like a memory I have. And since then, it just rolled into Riz Ramon and that whole era. And my same uncle that used to go all the time would invite me over for every pay-per-view.
That's awesome.
So that's where it started. But I found out recently wrestling has been in my family for like a long time.
That's awesome.
I had no clue.
Like just fans? Anybody that actually wrestle?
Well, this is literally, I went back home past week and my uncle told me a story because my uncle that used to watch wrestling with me, he passed away. And so I was asking them about, this Dallas, Texas wrestling thing they would go to. And he was like, yeah, did you know your dad wrestled? I was like, what?
What's up?
He was like, he almost went to the Junior Olympics. Like he was like amateur wrestler.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? And so my uncle would go every week, hang out with the wrestlers at the bar afterwards. And so one week, one of the wrestlers was like, hey, you know anybody that wants to wrestle for $300? Somebody dropped out. And so my dad volunteered. And so my uncle was like, they just ragdolled your dad for like 10 minutes.
That's crazy.
I was like, what? I had no idea.
He got in the ring, though. That's
what
awesome.
did he wear?
These are good questions. I was too baffled by that. I was just like, really? But yeah, so my dad got into it, but that was the only actual wrestler that
That's
I knew.
crazy.
Yeah. Besides my my junior high history teacher. He was a wrestler.
Okay.
They had stuff in the gym, and he was like Big Show to me. He was like super tall. Like,
yeah.
That was it.
I grew up in the same hometown as the Hardy Boys. So when they started taking off, it was great. But I'm a first generation wrestling fan. In my family, everyone thought I was an idiot for watching wrestling. So
yeah.
I get.
What do you think about how WWE has like treated the luchador historically?
Right now is a good moment. Like it's picking up.
I liked when they had the cruiserweight division. I don't know if y'all remember the cruiserweight division. Like,
I remember
like
WCW's cruiserweight division.
Like 2017. I mean, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But like 2017, 2018, they had a whole division. Like it would be like the middle of the show. Raw would be 3 hours. The middle hour would
Didn't they call it the light heavyweights? Oh, no, you're talking about the new. I remember when Raw was new, they had the light heavyweights. They had Michinoku and they had Lawler's kid. That's how Too Sexy came together.
Okay.
Is they were both competitors in the late 90s cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
It was the light heavyweight. They had a light heavyweight championship.
Yeah. But now is a good time. I mean, Penta, Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, it's like every other week there's a new luchador coming in or a new high flyer that, you know, which is great right now. Like growing up, all I remember is WCW, of course, Ray and Eddie and, you know,
Psychosis.
Juventud.
I remember just Juventud.
Oh, man. I was just a massive Psychosis fan, dude. That was my dude. Like, because I think that's why I like Penta so much, is I feel like there's a lot of those vibes there. And, like, at La Parca, like the swag.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I loved about luchadors early on, is they added that extra showmanship. You know what I mean?
Yes, there's so much more, not more skill per se, but there's a lot more risk.
Yeah, no doubt.
And, but, you know, like, the whole LWO thing, I wasn't really, not really my bag, but that's all I had growing up. So you latch onto it like I latched onto Ricky Martin because that's all I had. But, like, you take what you get. But now things are, like, thriving, so it's super cool. Like, you know, we got even Dirty Dom now. Like, I'm a Dirty Dom fan now.
Dirty Dom's
great, dude.
He's grown on me so much.
Yeah.
Dirty Dom is doing the Eddie Guerrero. They're like WCW Eddie Guerrero.
For your YouTube show, I just got that Eddie Guerrero that's on the front. I got it from Walmart. That was a weird Walmart find last weekend.
Yeah, well, I might snatch it up. I might be missing.
Did you watch some Eddie Guerrero stuff when he became champion, like in 2003-ish, 4-ish, when he beat Brock Lesnar because Bill Goldberg got involved?
That was my young 20-year-old clubman days, but I've gone back and rewatched it.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, when you obviously from birth, when did you take a break?
Probably high school.
Okay.
Junior high was heavy.
Yeah.
Junior high was heavy.
Yeah, I was heavy in junior high.
Yeah, and like we had like our own little factions, but it was like it was a mix of hip hop and wrestling. So we were the Rough Riders, and there was another little crew that was like Cash Money and like
Cash Money
and
Hot Boys.
We would, we had backyard wrestling, hitting each other with 5-gallon jug. That was the era of like the hype of all of it.
Yeah.
High school came around. I got a car and like. The girls got
you're not watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Y'all truly are my only friends that like wrestling. So I didn't have that support system. So as soon as I went to high school too, I was like, wrestling, I don't watch that.
Yeah, completely.
And also like the program just depending on where you were, just didn't keep up with where you were.
The last thing I watched was 99 Nitro, and it was so bad that I was like, this is making it easy. Like, I'm going to get picked on for liking it, it sucks. Who cares?
I couldn't tell you the last thing I watched. It just was a slow, softly moving away from it. So,
yeah. So you got back into it, SummerSlam. So what's captivating you about it right now? You kind of got back into it right as Vince McMahon was phasing out. Right as like the new regime is taking over.
Lucky.
Yeah, we're in this cool era where probably because we're getting older, but there's a lot of nostalgia going on right now in like all fields of entertainment. So Kevin Owens and Austin was like
awesome.
I think after that it was hooked.
Okay, so that's the
yeah.
Nice
that was
old meets new.
Yeah, I was like okay, and slowly. We'd get together and watch the PLEs and stuff, and slowly but surely I started learning who the new wrestlers are. They started that hook just started getting a little bit deeper in there. So and that's the way I got my wife going along with it. She doesn't watch the guys as much, but if she knows the drama between the women going on, she just has to sit there and watch. You just have to plant that little seed. So it slowly creeps up on you.
Yeah, my wife just respects so much how women's wrestling has grown.
Yeah,
because she's seen the bra and panties matches. She's seen the evening gown matches. She is just so just in love of the women that have carried that torch and got it to where it's got. Like, I watched the bio on Trish Stratus, the A&E biography. Have you seen that one yet? Highly recommend if you hadn't seen it.
No.
I had a complete, not that. I don't know what I thought of Trish Stratus growing up. Like, she was just the women's champion that had a great match with Lito on Raw and really set that bar up for women's wrestling. I knew nothing of her, but her story is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, junior high, it wasn't even Divas yet. It was just Sable.
Right, and Sonny.
Yeah, like I had a bunch of I had Jay-Z and all these hip hop artists on my wall. And my dad was getting worried. And then I got the Sable poster. He's like, is that one where she's on the beach or something? I don't know.
The iconic one. I got you. Yeah.
And so my brother-in-law is the same thing. That's when he was watching. And so now I'm trying to be that fun uncle that gets my nephew into wrestling and stuff. And he is, but my brother-in-law still thinks it's back in those days. So whenever the women come on, he's kind of iffy about it. So slowly he's starting to learn. Oh no, they got talent.
They can go in the ring.
Yeah, the women's division is really, my girlfriend's really gotten into it because of the way that they're really showcased and appreciated on the show. How old is your nephew that you're showing wrestling to?
He's 12.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, that's a good time.
I got an 8-year-old nephew that I messed up. He got really big into the Undertaker. That was my in. And so I showed him a bunch of old wrestling, and I showed him a Royal Rumble. And the closer we get to the end, I realized it was the one Chris Benoit won. I'm like, this is his first Rumble?
Yes.
I did that to the kid.
That's a great Rumble.
It is a great Rumble, but shouldn't have been his first, I don't think,
So who are you really liking right now? Who are some of your favorite wrestlers? And what have been some of your favorite moments back? Obviously you said the Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold moment. What are some other matches, moments that have really stood out to you?
Of course, that was just cool seeing Austin have one more match, the nostalgia of all that. Him doing well in it and him not being all
He took a bump on he took a suplex on the exposed concrete.
Yeah. He's a lunatic. Once a lunatic, always a lunatic, dude.
And then us fans are so crazy, want him to have one more.
Yeah.
We never give up on him. Currently, like I said, I'm liking Dom.
Yeah.
Fatu's.
How cool was it to see the reaction that Dom got after winning the Intercontinental Championship at
I love the
WrestleMania?
cameraman said, go back in there, buddy.
That's what I love. That's what I love about wrestling and the fans is that we're booing them, but we're booing them because it's fun. And we're in on it. So we're it's fun to boo him. That's what we're supposed to do. But secretly, over the years, it's been planning and we start to like him, but we're booing him not because we actually hate him. It's because we start to like him.
Right.
And so that builds up that pressure of that moment when your guy gets it. You know what I mean? Or when somebody you think deserves it gets it.
That was one of the redeeming moments of WrestleMania this year.
Which one?
It was Dom winning the IC title.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Is a huge. I feel like that's one of the moments in modern wrestling Cody beating Rock, huge moment. Rock slapping Cody. I'm sorry, Cody beating Roman. Those are some moments that really stick out to me. But Dom winning at WrestleMania, to me, was bigger than, I think really anything.
I'm one of those lunatics that actually enjoyed WrestleMania this year, so I don't know. I think it's just one of those abusive relationships that wrestling was so bad that I'm like, you can't do any wrong. Thank you, Triple H. Can I have another?
Because the wrestling at this point is good. It is exciting. They are, it is quality. There's not a lot of fluff anymore.
Right.
So it's all of substance.
They just cut all the fluff.
Well, and I think they know we alone are money.
Yeah.
So we don't need money matches anymore because we're money. Everything we do is money. We're selling out things before we're announcing
Spandex StandUps is money.
When you think about SummerSlam, it's you're selling out SummerSlam before you're even announcing matches for it. You're selling out WrestleMania before.
Do you think that's why they're not announcing them as early as they used to?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I like the way they're really holding out because I did not like when you knew 8 to 10 months in advance that there was Hell in a Cell, and okay, so
Now you got to keep talking.
the next Hell in a Cell is going to be in 10 months, and we already know who's on the poster, and you know, I didn't like that.
So that means you just know the outcome of all the stories and everything's going to happen. So
too
then you don't watch. Yeah. I would say this. So I did drop off watching it, especially since WrestleMania 40. I've been more consistent.
Okay.
So I've watched pretty much every Monday and Friday, or I catch up on it at least.
Right.
Right now is a little dip. I've missed like
We're dipping.
one or two.
How dare you?
And I don't care that I missed it.
God.
I'll watch the clips of the people that, but hopefully it picks back up to where I'm watching every week again.
Yeah.
Raw's always pretty good. It doesn't SmackDown's hit or miss.
I think they're going to have to sell out for SummerSlam this year. So I think it's going to pick up for sure.
Yeah.
Two nights? Come on.
And there's a lot of good people to like right now. Fatu, I love Fatu. I like that he's getting a little bit of shine right now. Who else? Like, I mean, Braun, of course, Braun Breaker. We'll see where that goes with that faction.
Were you ever a Steiner fan? Like, is that a nostalgia thing for you?
It is. I wasn't like a huge fan, but he's one of like Big Papa Pump.
Yeah,
Come on, like,
yeah.
He's another one of those guys that like he's not your main favorite, but like you enjoy.
You follow him.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it. Yeah,
I pull up the Steiner Math promo every now and then. You know?
Yeah, not everybody can be Dave Chappelle. Like you're gonna watch.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So there's a tier level of your favorites, and I don't know. Everything right now is keeping me engaged. I get more excited about the women's division.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, currently. So hopefully that changes. LA Knight had his moment. Everybody's having their moment, so it ebb and flows, which I think it should be like
Drew
that.
McIntyre.
Yeah.
He doesn't get his moment.
No.
I like Drew. Drew's, but he's in a good little pocket right now to where I can stay liking him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if we're going to see him the rest of the year.
Right.
He might not be.
He might be injured.
Oh,
might come
really?
back around Survivor Series, give or take. I don't know.
Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Ooh. Before you get to the Mount Rushmore, I want to know who was your very first superstar? Like, that's my guy.
Razor Ramon.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he was the closest thing to a Latino that I saw.
White dude from Minnesota?
Ends up being arguably
had no idea.
Me neither. When he joined the NWO, I was like, I think that's a white guy.
I had no idea. I was like 6. Yeah, that whole transition. Yeah, now he's Scott Hall.
It was almost Kofi Kingston-esque. Like, weren't you Jamaican?
Yeah. But when he came out, that was my dude. That was, Shawn Michaels is another one of my dudes. Well, I'm not getting to Mount Rushmore anywhere, but that was the first hook on there.
Yeah.
But it was that whole little era of Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like
they didn't have a lot of superstars. You kind of just had to like who they told you to like,
Yeah. Mankind. Like that there's so much from that era that grabbed me. But pre the Attitude Era, that little 90s transition from the 80s, there were some sweet spots in there with Diesel and all that. It was good.
Yeah. Oh, man, I didn't get that one. I love that because that's often referred to as the dark days because ratings were terrible. They blamed a lot of the top guys for
but that
good
ladder
runs.
match, that was the first ladder match.
Loved it. I loved that era because that's when Raw was new. I love that was big fan. Doink the Clown, Bam Bam Bigelow, those kind. I love that.
That's what the video games.
Macho Man was on commentary.
Yeah. Like the arcade games, plus I had a little game on the computer. I forgot what it was, In Your House probably.
Yeah, bro. They leaned on In Your House so hard, didn't they?
Yeah, but all the characters that were in that game were also my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah,
and so that era,
Bret Hart,
yeah, Bret, of course.
Savio Vega, who's going to be at Worlds Collide this week. Mm-hmm. Fun stuff, man. So, all right, Mount Rushmore.
Shawn Michaels is up there automatically. The rest is where got to go Austin.
Austin. By God, it's Austin.
I'm going to put Eddie up there.
Okay. I don't think anybody would complain with that.
Eddie's so good.
Yeah, just because,
I was watching a bunch of matches from his lie, cheat, steal phase, and that was so good.
He just embodied everything that you loved about was great about wrestling.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Who knows if he didn't pass the whole live long enough to become the villain type of thing. Who knows where that would have went. Hulk Hogan.
Imagine a Latino Hulk Hogan.
Go.
It's just Eddie's just ends up just being, he's just still there. Well, that's kind of I will say I feel like Rey Mysterio's been hanging on. Like, I don't like totally what they've been doing with him with certain things. Or I'm like, come on, Rey.
But you still get hyped when his music hits.
Totally, he's still a legend. But it's like, come on.
They've done some dumb things. That time he
Turn
won
into a kingpin. What's he out here?
That time he won the handicap match with, like, come on.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna cheat on the where am I?
True Eddie Guerrero style. You got 3. Yeah.
Okay. This is 4 or 5. 4.
You get 4.
So I'm gonna cheat on the last one, and it's Mick Foley.
Yeah. I mean, there you go.
So we're putting Cactus Jack. We're putting
everybody.
We're putting Dude
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Because I mean, it's the body of work. And that's his body of work.
I mean, I don't know how old I was. I was way too young to watch that Hell in a Cell, like that. Like, tell me this is fake.
Yeah.
Never like I was.
Did you watch that live?
I watched it live with my uncle. He had me watch a bunch of stuff.
And it blew your mind.
Just blew my mind.
I remember I rented that tape and watched it, and my mom stopped in the living room. And, like, I think for a split second, my mom was like, is this real? Did they?
I mean,
that man just died.
You can't fake that fall. Like that,
My mom turned him around. She's like, how did they do that? And I'm like, he threw him off the top of the... I don't know how to tell you. How did he do it? You saw how he did it.
Knows how to roll. I don't know. But yeah, that whole little era right there. I mean, Mankind. I mean, Mick Foley had so many good matches. He brought in a little bit of the hardcore into things, which really just I don't know how bad a thumbtack in your back feels, but it looks like
imagine,
it hurts.
Man. Like, can you imagine just someone just sticking you with a thumbtack? Like,
that's when I started watching was like 2004 when every PLE they just did something to make it all next level. Like the Royal Rumble that year was the last man standing match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels where they like knocked each other out.
What a great introduction
No Way
to pro
Out
wrestling,
was
dude.
Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero with Goldberg hopping the barricade and interfering. Then WrestleMania 20. Then Backlash where Mick Foley fell on thumbtacks in a Randy Orton match.
Those Randy Orton
just
matches,
one after
man.
the other, just doing wild stuff at these PLEs, just blowing our minds.
That's a great, first couple of years watching it. Holy crap, man. Yeah. That's when I fell off. Like 99, 2000 is when I dropped off. But I've gone back and watched, because I missed the whole Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, all that stuff, man. So, and I know how good it was.
WrestleMania I've gone back 19 is really fantastic. Like, what's your favorite WrestleMania to like go back? If you're going back and getting nostalgic, what do you go back and watch? It doesn't have to be WrestleMania, but just like pay-per-views, PLEs, or do you have a favorite PLE? Is it Rumble? Is it Mania? Is it Money in the Bank? Is it Vengeance?
It's probably WrestleMania, but
Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah. Because my mind goes back. I mentioned it already. That first ladder match. It's just, that's a great one. Anything with Undertaker, Mankind, anything with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, any of those PLEs, those matches are the ones I'll go back and rewatch because watched all those like live, and then even mentioning your Owen over here. I watched that live. Did you guys watch that live at all?
I didn't get the pay-per-views back then. My mom was like, I'm not paying for that. And of course I didn't have any friends that wanted to do it. So I had to watch Raw the next night to get, the recaps. And then eventually it would hit our video stand. So I'd watch it so I could actually watch the matches. But no, I never rented that one. I don't think they put it out, right?
No, they probably edited it. So I had my best friend in junior high. He got them all. And so we're sitting there watching it, and don't expect that to happen. But I'm not going to go back and rewatch that, but that's something that sticks out.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched it, the Dark Side of the Ring on Owen. And they talk extensively about it. And just hearing his wife talk about it, man, it rips your heart. Like it just happened yesterday. Every time you hear her talk about it.
Yeah, that's what's cool about this era too. Like I said, the nostalgia. So now we're getting the Dark Side of the Rings. We're getting the documentaries. We're getting the the reality TV shows. We're getting so much more. They're about to come out with that other documentary for WrestleMania.
How do you feel about that Untold that's coming out, where they're pulling back the curtain and being like, they're showing, like one of the clips was Triple H telling Jay he was getting a push of a lifetime. How do y'all feel about that?
As an entertainer, I like it because I'm the guy that gets the DVDs and watches the commentary.
Yeah,
or listens to the commentary. So I like that. I like to see the inner workings of things. because even though I just turned 40, I still hope I get into the world.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I like it. And if you're a wrestling fan, you know what's going on. It's in the back of your mind, and you have to like suspend disbelief and be there to be entertained. If you're a comedy fan, you show up. You know, we've probably said this 50 million times beforehand, but you're gonna sit there and experience the ride. So I don't mind it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I'm all about more wrestling content. I like the behind the scenes stuff. I want to know what's going on actually.
That's fair.
And we're in an era where they're out in the open about it. You know, it's no secret.
Might as well embrace it.
Yeah, so I'm into it. You know,
that was my favorite WrestleMania. The one they just dropped on Peacock, the first behind the scene ones. Where was it 9 in Caesar's Palace? Where the first outdoor
they made a good
one,
documentary.
Great documentary on Peacock. Go
Yeah.
check it out. It's the first time you can see the look in Taker's eyes, where he's like, "Why do you have a camera on me right now?" It was the first time they went backstage. Like, it freaked Yokozuna. Like, every wrestler they passed, they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm not in character. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Well, that reminds me. I don't know. I forgot the name of the documentary, but it was the I Quit match with Rock and Mankind. So they were there. They filmed a documentary that weekend.
Oh, okay.
So you get to. They already did this. You see Rock and Mankind or Mick Foley talking things out. I'm gonna go here. You're gonna do this and that. So it's kind of been done already.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching it. So I think because of that,
Yeah.
I'm open to it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
Well, cool, man.
Well, Eddie, appreciate you being here, man.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's good to be around two comics that actually like comedy. Unlike, I don't know the word to say it. I'll use Spanish, like two osos that are out there.
That's fair.
I'm just trying to start a feud with two
Yeah,
guys.
that's fair. That's fair.
Podcast feud.
We've been cut promos on each other. It's all good. Movie wars, we're coming for you.
Yeah. Eddie Sisneros in the house. We appreciate y'all tuning in. This has been Everyone Loves Wrestling, brought to you by the Spandex StandUps podcast. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.